Breaking. Princess Leonor's emotional tears at royal event leave fans in shock. Crown heartbreak. The palace. Calm. Predictable. Another royal event unfolding as expected. But suddenly, a moment no one saw coming. Princess Leonor, in tears. Yet here's the part that stops everything: those tears weren't a sign of weakness. They were a revelation that changes everything we thought we knew. Princess Leonor's emotional moment didn't break the royal image. It revealed something deeper, something far more powerful. And today, you're about to understand exactly why Spain can't stop talking about it. Let's begin. From the very first second Leonor stepped into the Grand Hall, something was different. The atmosphere felt charged, almost heavier than usual, though no one could quite explain why. Cameras flashed. Guests whispered softly. The royal orchestra played gently in the background. Everything appeared flawless, perfect, predictable, the way royal events are designed to be. But beneath that carefully polished surface, a quiet storm was building. As the future Queen of Spain, Leonor has spent years mastering composure, discipline, and grace. She is trained to remain calm no matter what. And she does it better than almost anyone her age. But on this day, something pierced through that control. And it happened in a single, unforgettable moment. The event itself was a celebration, one meant to honor Spain's youth in the military, academic excellence, and public service. Leonor's presence wasn't just ceremonial, it was deeply symbolic. She represents a new generation, a new era, a new hope. Every time she appears at events like this, she carries a weight far heavier than the crown itself, the hopes of a nation. And yet, despite all that pressure, she usually moves through these events with stunning ease. But today, something shifted. It began innocently. Leonor stood beside her father, King Felipe, listening attentively as one of the young award recipients spoke. A boy no older than 17, whose life had been shaped by hardship, stood at the podium delivering a speech that came straight from the heart. He spoke of his family, of struggle, of loss, of resilience. His story was raw and vulnerable, and as he shared it, the room grew impossibly still. Leonor's expression softened. Her eyes flickered with empathy. She leaned in slightly, absorbing every word. Then, it happened. A single tear formed, glimmering beneath the lights. She blinked, and it fell. And in that tiny moment, barely visible unless you were truly watching, the world shifted. Because Leonor didn't wipe it away. She didn't hide. She didn't step back or turn her face. She allowed herself to feel. And that simple act stunned everyone. Immediately, whispers swept through the audience. Photographers froze, then scrambled to capture the moment. Royal commentators rushed to understand what could have evoked such emotion. And fans across Spain, who would later see the images online, felt a wave of shock, and something else. Connection. Because in that tear, people didn't see a princess. They saw a human being. But the story didn't end there. It only deepened. As the ceremony continued, the emotional weight in the room seemed to follow Leonor. And here's where the curiosity loop opens: what exactly triggered that reaction? Was it just the boy's speech? Or was there something more happening behind the scenes, something unseen and spoken? To answer that, we need to step back. In the months leading up to this event, Leonor's life has been a whirlwind. Between her military training, her growing public responsibilities, and the constant pressure of preparing for her future role, she has been carrying a load that would break most adults, let alone someone just stepping into adulthood. And yet, she's handled it all with unwavering strength. But even the strongest hearts have their limits. Recent reports suggest Leonor has been intensely focused on living up to expectations, pushing herself harder than ever. She wants to be ready. She wants Spain to trust her. She wants her family to be proud. And she wants to avoid the mistakes that have haunted monarchies across Europe. This sense of responsibility, combined with her natural compassion, creates a recipe for emotional overflow, especially during moments that hit close to home. And the boy's story that day struck a nerve. Because Leonor has always been deeply sensitive to stories of sacrifice and service. Her own military training showed her firsthand what dedication, loss, and resilience look like. She's had days of exhaustion, nights of self-doubt, and moments of profound realization about the future she's stepping into. So when that young boy spoke of struggle, of perseverance, of the weight placed on young shoulders, Leonor wasn't just listening. She was relating. She was feeling it. And for the first time in a long time, she allowed the world to see that emotion. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. As Leonor tried to regain her composure, King Felipe noticed her tears almost immediately. And in a rare, tender gesture, one that spoke volumes, he gently placed a hand on her back. Not to correct her, not to remind her of protocol, but to comfort her, to say, without words, "I see you, I understand, you're not alone." The moment was brief, subtle, almost hidden, but for those who caught it, it was unforgettable. It revealed the very real bond between father and daughter, between a king preparing his heir and a young woman carrying the weight of the future. But it also revealed something much deeper. It showed that Leonor, despite the crown, is still human. And that humanity is exactly what makes people love her. But the story doesn't end with just emotion. Because after the ceremony, what happened next became the subject of endless discussion among royal experts. When Leonor returned to her seat, her eyes still slightly glossy, she took a deep breath, not to hold back tears but to steady herself. And then something remarkable happened. She stood taller. Her voice, when she delivered her next remarks, was steady and powerful. She spoke with conviction, with wisdom beyond her years, and with a sincerity that seemed to reach every corner of the room. Her emotional moment didn't weaken her. It strengthened her. Because vulnerability is not weakness. It is clarity. It is connection. It is courage. And Leonor showed all three that day. Even more surprising was the reaction from the public. Instead of criticizing her for breaking royal composure, the nation embraced her. Fans across Spain expressed overwhelming support, praising her for showing her heart. Commentators described the moment as transformative, calling it a defining moment in her public life. But why did this moment resonate so deeply? Because Spain has been waiting for a monarch who feels real. Someone who listens. Someone who understands the emotional heartbeat of the nation. Someone who doesn't hide behind the crown but uses it with grace, compassion, and purpose. And with that single tear, Leonor revealed she may be exactly that kind of queen. But the curiosity doesn't end here. Because many began to wonder, could there have been an underlying personal reason for the tears? Had something happened before the event? Was she emotionally affected by a private family moment? The palace, as expected, remained silent. But insiders hinted that Leonor had been under increased emotional pressure in recent weeks, balancing commitments and facing critical decisions about her future roles. Whether those decisions influenced her emotional reaction remains unknown. But what is known, is that this moment will be remembered for years. Because it wasn't just a tear. It was a symbol of empathy, a symbol of responsibility, a symbol of humanity within royalty. And as the event concluded, Leonor walked out of the hall with a renewed presence, still thoughtful, still emotional, but stronger. More grounded, more connected to the people she will one day serve. Fans didn't just witness a princess that day. They witnessed the making of a queen. A queen who feels, a queen who listens, a queen who leads with her heart. And that is why Spain is still talking about this moment. Not because a princess cried, but because those tears revealed the future of the monarchy, real, compassionate, and powerfully human. And that future begins now.